Most agents are using ChatGPT like some kind of cheap party trick. Write this caption, make this piece of content, fix this email. But today I'm going to show you the power of ChatGPT Projects. We're going to go through how to create a dedicated AI assistant for your buyers that remembers everything, analyzes patterns, and helps you deliver an experience that feels like luxury concierge servicing. I'm going to walk you through what projects are, how to set them up properly, and then show you real use cases and prompts that will blow your mind. If you're new to the channel, we dive deep into a lot of AI strategies and tools on how to be more productive inside your business. So go ahead and subscribe, like the video, do your thing, and let's jump in. So let's go ahead and jump right into ChatGPT. Now, projects are on the left-hand side here, right here, these folders. And what it does is it creates a workspace with memory. And this means that it can remember the files you upload, the context that you provide, and anything that you want to teach it inside that space, just like you would have a real assistant working for you. So let's go ahead and set up a buyer project. So all you're going to do is come down here to new project at the top of the folders, click this here, and then you're just going to name it. So for me, in this example, I've created a Johnson family to take us through this project here. Johnson family are a couple with a kid who are going to buy a home. So I'm going to take you through exactly what you want to do and how you would build it. So you can see in here, it just looks like a normal chat, but down here we have a couple of things here. We can add files to this project to give it content and context, and we can add custom instructions, just kind of like a custom GPT or custom instructions. We can add it in here to act in a specific manner. So the first thing you want to do is to add files. So we're going to come here and add some files. Now, so you can drag and drop files right in here, or you can come up here and click add files to go through things. Now, I've created a few documents that we typically use with our buyer clients all the time. So I'm going to pull those in here, and then we can kind of go through what that looks like. The first one is the buyer intake form. So we use a buyer intake form with all our clients. I've created this kind of fake one here that you can see if I pull up: name, budget, preferred areas, home style preference, must-haves, deal breakers, school preferences, timeline, kids and pets, what that looks like. We have a buyer intake form we use with the specific details in here. The next thing I'm going to do is bring up a pre-approval letter. Again, I'm just making these up here. So we've got a pre-approval letter from the lending company, blah, blah, blah. Now the next thing I'm going to add in is a discovery call notes. So anytime we talk to a client at first or meet them, this could be an in-person meeting or on the phone. Obviously we're taking notes, so this is just some little details inside of here. And two more things we're going to add in right here. The first one is the CRM notes. So very similar to the discovery call notes, just notes that I've put in there on my CRM that I'm going to export. And then the last one here, depending on if you've been working with them for a while or not, these are going to be property feedback notes here. So you can see if I come up here, this is just properties we've already viewed, the pros and cons, what they've thought about it, follow-up notes. You know, Sarah didn't like the lack of the workspace. Michael loved the kitchen in this one. They're concerned about traffic noise here. And obviously, you know, if you're a buying agent going out with buyers all the time, you always want to be taking notes on your phone or an iPad or piece of paper on what they're saying inside of the property. Do they like it? What are the pros? What are the cons? What are the things? So taking property feedback notes is paramount. Now the last two things I'm going to bring up here, because I'm going to show you a prompt how to do this later on, is just a couple of different MLS listings that they have maybe liked, right? So I'm just going to add those in there. So if they have liked places, you can obviously take them in. This is just a fake MLS listing of what this house looks like. But say those were ones that they really liked or wanted to compare, I add in that. Basically what you want to do here is add in as much files and data as humanly possible on your clients. Now, the things you do not want to add are private information. So obviously no bank accounts. You don't want to put in, you know, social security numbers or anything that would prohibit your fiduciary responsibility to your clients. Okay, so let's just preface that. Don't put in anything that has explicit private details that they would not want shared. And one of these could be just making up fake names for them, right? Or changing their last name or something like that. Mine is a fake case study today, but it's up to you. Maybe change their last name or spell it differently or something like that, just so you have it. All right, so we've got our files added, and they are added now to the memory. You can see the project files have 7 files now that is going to work off. Next, we want to come to add instructions. So this is for custom instructions. You see, How can ChatGPT best help you with this project? You can ask ChatGPT to focus on certain topics or ask it to use a certain tone or format for responses. So I've got some instructions here that we'll go through right here. You're a real estate buyer concierge AI helping Lewi Gault. Your job is to deliver white glove service to Michael and Sarah Johnson. Their budget is $725K, preferred areas, must-haves, deal breakers, timeline is 45 days, they have a toddler, and they have a golden retriever. Now, you can also set it up to speak in your tone of voice, but if you've been using ChatGPT for a while, it has memory and it will use that inside of here. So we're going to save that. So it has now its files to work from and its custom instructions. So if you work with a lot of buyers, you will know that a lot of times they just kind of don't know what they want, and you have conversations here, conversations there, and sometimes it's hard to find those patterns so you can course correct them into it. Well, with your note-taking abilities, with everything you're doing with those buyers, we can now come in here and use a simple prompt like this. Based on the uploaded property feedback CSV, what patterns are emerging in the Johnsons' likes and dislikes? What should I adjust in their buyer profile? Meaning that once we find this out, we can go back into the MLS and maybe change some patterns, change a couple of things that they're looking for. So here we go. Strong preference for craftsman and modern farmhouse. Open concepts, natural light. Appreciation for homes with defined office space. Here's the neighborhood feel they want. Outdoor space. Here's our dislikes and deal breakers being reinforced. Busier streets or highways, we've talked about that. Separate, a lack of dedicated office space, smaller unusable yards because obviously they have a dog. HOAs, they really don't want an HOA. So here's some recommendations it spits out of how to define what we're looking for and what you can start sending them more and more and more. Because the more we can define in MLS search and send them, the less properties get sent, the more they can actually choose to look at the properties they want rather than taking them out to see 10, 15 places and 3/4 of them are a no. So this is a great prompt to keep on defining and redefining as you go along different things with them. Also, it really helps when you have conversations with them. You can pull this up and be like, well, I know you said this. I know you said there's noise level sensitivity. The yard's a priority. Like, these are things that you told me. So when you're having conversations with them, it's way easier to communicate with them. Now, in our projects, you can see that this opened a chat by itself. So we can open up the sidebar and you can see that if we come down here, we have our project for the Johnson family. And if we click inside of it now, in just a couple minutes here, if we refresh, you can see that chat is saved right there. So the beautiful thing about projects, it keeps all the chats that you've used in this project in the project file. So you don't have to go back and look for them or search for them. You know what it's like when you have a big stream of ChatGPT prompts. Here we are dialed in inside of our project. Okay, our next one we could do is hyper-personalized emails to them. So after showing properties, after looking with them and spending the day with them, there's nothing better than a follow-up to them, because you can be like, cool, well, call me and let me know what you think or whatever, or you might text them later on. But what if we send something hyper dialed in with our notes? So if we come back to our project here and we click in, write a follow-up email for the showing at 2345 South Logan. Now that is in the showing notes that I have the file in there. Mention that it has a finished basement, walkable to Washpert Coffee, and is half a mile from Teller Elementary, which is a school here that they have shown to love. And there we go, it'll write that email. Hey Michael and Sarah, it was great touring the property with you. I want to follow up and highlight a few features that align really well with what you're looking at. Bum bum bum, located here. Let me know if you'd like to revisit or you're feeling ready to move forward. Timing looks good with your 45-day window and it's still within budget is $715K. Cool, right? It's kind of taken the notes that we've taken, the things that they've said to us, and it's reinforced it in that email to say, hey, this is a real opportunity for you. Maybe let's do this. And of course, you could double this up. You could put in multiple properties that they saw that day that they really liked, and you could just send that email, sum them all up and be like, here's your options, guys, looking really good. And for them, they can just open that email and it's a nice quick summary of the things that they looked at, the things that they said, because you know that buyers will go and see a bunch of properties and then they'll forget which one was here, forget which one was there. With your diligent note taking and then inputting it into your project, you're never going to forget. And that brings us on to our next one, which is side-by-side listing comparisons. When you talk to buyers, a lot of the times they're like, well, what do you think about these two properties, right? After you've seen them the night before, maybe you're talking to them and they're like, well, what do you think? Now you can see, remember in the project here, that in our files, we uploaded a couple of MLS PDFs. So what I suggest is that when you're doing your showings, you can download either all of the PDFs from the MLS that you saw, or just the ones that you know that they're interested in, or the ones that got good feedback. And then we can put in a prompt like this. Compare 2345 South Logan and 2378 South Downing using the updated MLS PDFs. Which one better fits the criteria and why? Now, this just helps us to get an overview. If you're going to get on a call with them and they're like, we can't decide between these two properties, can we jump on a call and chat? Even if this is just for your reference point, you can now see that we have this dialed in. Okay, must-haves and preferences match up. Budget, you know, here's what they are. This is under budget. This is just over by 4K, but it could be negotiated. Preferred area, this is the top choice. This is a good, but not in their top 3. Style and preference, these are both good. And you can see that we can compare these straight away without having to go back and forth, without having to pull the other ones up. And you can say, okay, hey, this is the best fit. Why? Because it's in that great area, it's under budget, in a quiet location, it's closer to the school that you really want for your toddler, and it matches up with that aesthetic vibe that you want. The trade-off is that there's no mention of a finished basement, so that's a big question mark. Or maybe if you've sent them a bunch of properties and you're going to go and check them out, you can pull them all up and throw them in here, and then you can have a comparison sheet that you can just take with you to the showings and be like, hey, based on our criteria, this is what these all look like, so let's just take notes as we go along. So really, really cool that you can start to compare things very, very easily without having to spend, you know, an hour inside the MLS looking at all the different properties. All right, our next one is our lifestyle-centric tour planner. That's what we're calling it. This is really cool because you know what it's like when you work with buyers. Like, hey, can we go and see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 properties? You're like, yeah, let me book them on the MLS. I'll try and get a route that works, like all this kind of stuff. What we want to do is not just go out and show homes. We want to create an experience which feels like this white glove service. So what I would do is put in the property types, the properties that they want to go and see. And then I would say create an optimized Saturday showing route for 3 homes. Include coffee stop near the first showing, dog-friendly park nearby, a lunch option with toddler seating, and a buffer time for traffic. Now, I've not put the properties in, so we'll see what it says here. It might just build it out. Yeah, so it's going to put in a couple of, you know, the properties that I put in there in the CSVs, but you get the gist of it, right? If you're like, if this is the first time that you're meeting them, or maybe for us, we deal with a lot of transplants, a lot of people moving, relocating from California maybe to here. If they're just in town for the weekend, we want to make sure that we better put our best foot forward and meet with them and give them the whole shebang. We don't just want to show them homes and be like, peace, like have a nice flight back to California, we'll talk to you soon. We want to actually get to know them, build relationship, and make sure that we give them that service, that level of service that they're just going to be blown away by. So you can see here it's going like, okay, we're going to meet at this home, we're going to do this. There's a really great coffee shop that is in Wash Park, which is the neighborhood they really want to move to. So we're going to show them more of the neighborhood. Hey, here's a really cool, cozy coffee shop. Cool, it's giving us a little buffer. The next home we're going to be at 11:15. Here's a couple features about it. After that, if you guys want, I can take you to the dog park where you can let your you know, little dog into the dog park, and you can test it out and see what it's like, see what the neighborhood's like with the dog park. Really, really cool. Now, if it's a transplant, they probably won't have the dog with them. But even if you drove by it, it's another touch, right? You're like, hey, let's just stop by. I'm just going to show you where the dog park is, so you know proximity to your house where it is. Okay, here's a number 3 home. Here's where it is. Perfect. And here's a lunch at a tap house that's in the neighborhood. Now, obviously this is an example, but you can see what you can do here. You can be like, okay, here's the places I'm going to take them. Build me something that you know is important to them, that we can make a few stops that are going to connect with them. That is next level service. We're not just showing them homes, we're creating an experience for them. This is very, very good. All right, let's go back to our project here. You can see all these prompts have saved. Our next one is going to be our offer strategy builder. Now, very, very cool. If we paste this in here, I'll show you what this looks like. So using their $725K budget and uploaded pre-approval letter, create 3 offer strategies for the Downing Street home, right? Maybe this is the one they love. Let's get 1 aggressive offer, 1 conservative offer, and 1 balanced offer. And when we put this in here, it's going to give us some information out, but instead of guessing, we're equipping our clients with clear choices, helping them to make decisions a little bit faster and with confidence, right? Because buyers, especially if they're coming to a new market, maybe don't understand how the market works, what offer situations are like, how the market is. We can hit this in, and then we can come to them and be like, hey guys, listen, here's 3 different strategies we could take. If you guys want to go hyper aggressive, here's what we could do. We could go in at 729, full asking, but ask them to cover an appraisal gap in case it goes lower, limit the inspection to health and safety or minor issues, put a big earnest money down, and then quick close to them, okay? We can offer to pay the seller's title fees or whatever. So if this is a really competitive home that you know is going to go quick, here's a really aggressive offer that we could send. And you can just be like, that's what we could do. This is why this would really work. It appeals to them and it's very aggressive. So, but maybe we don't want to go aggressive. Maybe we just want to put a solid offer in and see how we go. Maybe it's not a super hyper hot market. So we'll say, okay, let's go in at 710 and we'll do a full inspection, earnest money at 10K, closing timeline 30 days, and we're going to ask for $5,000 seller concession towards closings, right? It gives our clients flexibility, and it's useful if the home has been sitting on the market a little bit longer or the seller shows signs of needing to negotiate. And here's our balanced offer. Strong but reasonable offer to win without overpaying. 720, 5,000 appraisal gap, limit the inspection to major systems like the HVAC roof foundation. Earnest money 15K, closing timeline 30 days, flexible move out date for sellers so we could give them a post occupancy agreement. So with this, you can see that we've given them a few different strategies. So it's not just like we're like, hey, what do you want to do? Like, okay, let's get on the phone. You love this home? Okay, what do you want to do? What do you want to offer at? Because they're going to come back to you and say, well, what do you recommend? Now you could say, hey, listen, there's 3 strategies that you could take. Let me lay them out for you and let's see which one feels good to you. Again, all about equipping them with choices and empowering them on how the market works and what they should be doing and what they feel comfortable with. Now, in our market, Denver, we do get a lot of relocation clients. Mackenzie and I work with them a ton, and a lot of them are wondering about neighborhoods. And a lot of the time with that, if they're still in California or wherever, we can take time and put things together. But what if they're in on the fly and they're like, well, what's the deal with this neighborhood? What's the deal with that neighborhood? Where's this one? And if you're a local market expert, you're going to know this stuff, which is great. But sometimes what we found is that if we go out for day 1 of showings and then they're in the hotel room that night, we're going to go out the next day, they're like, hey, what about this one? What about this one? What about this one? You know what it's like, they've got a ton of questions. So here we can just be like, hey, generate a quick relocation guide for Platt Park with school district info, walkability scores, types of homes, top coffee shops and park spots, common pros and cons from other buyers. So we'll throw that prompt in there and it will spit it out, and you can just text this right over to them. Now you could build this out as a fancy PDF and stuff like that, but really it doesn't make much sense. If they're just texting you back and forth or emailing you, you can just copy and paste this and send it right over. Here's all the school district info, here's a walkability score, here's the types of homes, here's coffee shops and different things you could do. Common pros, super walkable, all this stuff. Common cons, here we go. Few homes have very large yards, competitive pricing. So at the touch of a button, you can get this information and just text it to them. Quick response like, oh my gosh, like Lou's killing it. He's all over this. What about this neighborhood? Boom, put it in, done. And of course, if you're out for the day, if you're out showings and they ask about a neighborhood or a property, you can just go on your phone on ChatGPT, like, hey, boom, 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 build me this out, send it to them, they've got it. So it's really, really great because this replaces, maybe not hours, but 20 minutes, 25 minutes to put all this stuff together to get the information to send it over. If your buyer has an immediate question, you can send them an immediate answer with confidence. All right, our last prompt that we're going to be using here inside the Johnson Family's project here is our CRM update summarizer. So think about this. You've been out with them for a long time, you've been showing homes, you've been all over the place, and the last thing that we do quite a lot is update our CRM. Or if we do, we're like, hey, I have to update the CRM. We get there and we put in a couple of different cliff notes, but not a ton, and we lose track of certain things. So we want to make sure that our CRM is dialed in with everything too. So I just want to go in here and say this. Summarize everything from the last 2 weeks into one clean CRM note, highlight any concerns, hesitations, or deal breakers. This keeps our CRM clean without all the manual work, And it's also useful for looping in your TC, a lender, your team lead, whoever it is. You can make sure that you're like, hey, I'm up to date with everything. I've got everything completely dialed in. And it's just giving them a summary. Here's the buyer profile highlights that we did. Here's the deal breakers. Here's properties that we looked at. Here's what they liked, disliked. Here's some observations and concerns. Here's some noted hesitations and deal breakers. And it's given us a complete rundown of everything. So projects can be really, really powerful inside of ChatGPT if you use them properly. And there's so many different use cases, scenarios. You can use them for sellers, you can use them for niches, you can use them for marketing, so many different things you can do. But I love this because you can keep clients in a project and harness the power of artificial intelligence to stay on top of things, to be relevant, and to be completely ahead of the game in terms of high-level service for them. So ChatGPT projects are probably the closest things that we have to really clone ourselves as agents right now. When it's used right, when we do it properly, it becomes this buyer assistant that never forgets. This always connects the dots, always has the relevant information, and helps you to scale white glove service without losing your damn mind. If you want the demo files I used in this video, including the prompts as well, so you can mess around with them, they're linked in the description below. Just go ahead and grab them. And if you're ready to systemize your real estate business using artificial intelligence, automation, productivity, subscribe to the channel for more. I've got tons of videos coming out on amazing AI applications and how you can use them properly in your real estate business. All right, we'll see you soon.